Hi there, time for our next monthly video update. And we're going to start this month with Matt and Amy Bianchi's news.
As Dan mentioned on Sunday morning, Amy and I will be leaving Southampton at the end of August. We'll be heading as a family off to Oxford for me to train for ordination at Wycliffe Hall. It's a difficult decision, filled with very mixed emotions, great happiness and great sadness, quite a lot of fears wrapped up in that. But we do feel that this is the right time for us to be doing it. It's been great being here for the last 7 years and leading the youth work, but we do feel that this is the next stage that God is calling us to as a family.
So some big news from Matt and Amy there. It's going to be a big 6 or 7 months or so for them. They're going to have a new baby, they're going to move to a new city, they're going to have a new house to live in, they're going to have a new role, and they've got to say goodbye to all of us and all of our teenagers before they do that. Do please encourage them and pray for them and support them over these coming months. But it's going to be a big time for our teenagers and young people themselves as well. Obviously a lot of them really value Matt and Amy's input into the youth work here, and it could be quite unsettling for them with Matt and Amy moving on. Research would say that the teenagers who are most likely to keep going in their faith into their 20s and beyond are those teenagers who've got adults from within their church family who know them and take notice of them. And so I'd encourage all of us, not just the parents of teenagers, not just the official youth workers, but all of us to take a keen interest in our teenagers, especially over this next 6 months or a year, to help them make the transition to having new youth workers in post. So after the service on a Sunday, go up to them, ask them how they're doing, ask them what they're interested in, ask them what they're involved in, ask them what it's like being a Christian at school or college. And that will have a huge positive impact on them in helping them relate to the church as a whole. That will be really key. But then I'd also encourage each of us to be praying about whether God wants us to get involved in the youth work here at a practical level. You don't just need to be in your 20s to be involved in youth work. We need people of every age to be involved in youth work if it's going to be a good and rounded youth work. Obviously you'd need to go through DBS checks and that sort of thing. But we need people to bolster our youth team, partly because the youth team at the moment is very, very small, and partly to help prepare the way for a successor for Matt and Amy, so that they know that they've got a youth team to work with as they serve young people here in the future. Let me give a little update on our services, because we're experimenting with some changes this term to our service pattern. We've been aware for a long time that our 10:30 service has so many different people coming in that it's impossible to scratch where everyone is itching. And so we're going to make a few changes to see whether that helps more of us use those gathered times to really relate and engage with God, to equip us ready for our mission from Monday to Saturday. So here's a couple of the changes that we're going to make. The first is to do with our communion services. And sometimes it's great to gather the whole church family together, children and all, to celebrate communion together, to remember what Jesus has done for us on the cross. We're going to carry on doing that on the 4th Sunday of each month. But at other times, some people find it helpful to have a quieter, more reflective communion. And we're going to be building that into our S2 services on the 2nd Sunday of the month, when almost all of the young families are down at Superstars in the morning. Another change we're going to make is we're going to experiment with a few evening services. And I've been aware for a long time that when our teenagers hit 18 and when they leave college, they struggle to know where they belong. They can't go along to the youth services anymore, and they don't feel as though they belong to our 10:30 morning service. So we're going to experiment with some evening services which will hopefully appeal to our older teenagers and young adults. They're going to be open for everyone, but hopefully they'll be at a time and done in a style which particularly appeals to our older teenagers and young adults. Some of you have been asking about the chairs. This saga has been going on a long time. I can't wait until we actually get some new chairs in place. I think we're nearly there. We've made a decision, we've placed an order. One of the reasons it took us so long to make a decision was because the congregation and the PCC were pretty much split on whether we should get some wooden chairs or upholstered chairs. Some people said that the wooden chairs would be better for mission because when we had messier activities in here, they could be easily wiped clean. So if we had a parent and toddler group in here, or when we have the light party in here, or if we have an all sorts meal in here, actually the chairs are going to get messy. We need something we can wipe clean. Other people said, well, we need chairs that are definitely going to be comfortable, so we need upholstered chairs. And so when we have a film afternoon or a film evening, or a time when people come in and sit down for a longer period of time, they've got to be comfortable. Well, we think we've found the best of both worlds. We've got an upholstered chair, which will be comfortable, but it is good to clean and should therefore last a long time. It's not got a plasticky feel, it's got a good feel to it. It's still light, it's stackable, which is going to be key for us being able to reconfigure the church building for different uses. So the wardens and I will be writing to everyone within the next week or so to encourage people to give towards this as a sign of our commitment to our mission and wanting to make sure that this building is used for mission, not just on a Sunday, but throughout the week as well. One final thing to mention that I think the Lord is doing in our midst, and it's been really encouraging for me to see over the last month or so that we've got an increasing number of people with learning difficulties or fairly serious mental health issues coming along to our 10:30 services, sometimes with their carers. It would be great for us to give them a warm welcome and encourage them to keep coming. They're valued members of our community. When we published our vision document a couple of years ago, one of the lines we had in there was that we wanted to be known as a church which associates gladly with people that the world often looks down on. And I wonder whether this is part of God answering that prayer.